Mateo and Josh, and these questions, by the way, were submitted by the Central Valley Democratic Club, Our Revolution, and Be the Change Turlock. So, we'll begin with Mateo, and the question is, there are armed conflicts, gross human rights violations, natural disasters, and unstable dictatorships plaguing the world. What do you see the role of the United States in responding to these issues?
So, those being the facts, we cannot choose to not engage, and that doesn't mean just physical. As was said earlier, soft power is our greatest strength, and in an ever-changing face of conflicts, warfare, diplomacy today, we have to have a representative who understands the nature of those problems. I guess the best example that comes to mind, because we've heard about it so much, is basically Russia's hybrid threat. And what that means is they're mixing conventional warfare with unconventional warfare and using cyber to either influence policies or politics, meaning elections in other countries. Going back to what I said, it means that we cannot choose to not engage. We have to make sure that our intelligence agencies and research and development is well funded so that we know what we're up against. Similar to what was said earlier, if you don't have a seat at the table, I don't know if I've heard it like that, you're for lunch, but what it means is you're gonna be going into battle figuratively or literally blind. And whether our citizens know that we're giving an extra edge to our military or not, that's not the issue here. We must know what threats are here domestic and abroad. And that means having the best information, working in coalitions, and knowing that a high-up military official is not going to be able to direct every single soldier on the field. You need special forces that can act independently, and that means receiving better training and working with population-centric, basically coalitions, people on the ground that speak the language and, like some people like to say, figure out what exactly is going on.
Josh, 2 minutes.
Look, I think my philosophy on this is that we need to have three things that are happening. First, we need America to be a leader and not to ignore all of these conflicts and issues that are going on across the globe. Second, America works best when we're actually working alongside our international allies and the international community to get things done and to advance the American agenda and our priorities. And third, we should start first with diplomacy instead of going through military interventions. The Trump administration has done exactly the opposite on all three of those points. On our international leadership, they've completely given it up. They've withdrawn from things like the Paris Accord and are not in any way trying to advance an agenda of our interests in any part of the globe. Second, they've alienated our allies in Europe with NATO, all across Asia and Latin America. They are completely ignoring and infuriating our allies that are best placed to actually help continue that agenda. And third, they are significantly depleting our diplomatic resources that actually get stuff done. Let's look at the State Department. Under Secretary Tillerson, of the top 32 positions in the State Department, only 4 are currently filled. That's 13%. That may have been a great grade for Trump in college. That's not exactly a great way to conduct foreign policy. We see the results of that every single day. The U.S. is losing our international edge and getting distracted on our reputation every single day. We got to build that back up, and it starts with building up on our diplomatic efforts.
Mateo, 1 minute rebuttal.
I just want to address 2 points to start off. So the Paris Climate Pact, yes, it's a terrible thing that we're the only country out of almost 200 that's not in it right now. It's not enforceable. Anybody who actually reads into it, it's not enforceable. It's not enforceable. My second point that I wanted to make is, it was about the climate treaty. And also, if you look at this, look at the actual things that are happening on the ground with NATO. Right now, yes, it may seem like there's a show where we're strained with our allies, but the reality is weapon sales they've been as high as they've always been. That's why, if anything, we have certain people in our leaderships advocating for a tougher stance and even war with Russia, is because our military alliances are probably at their very strong right now. They're doing what they're supposed to do. That's advocating for military, for weapon sales.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's use one quick example here. North Korea. The Trump administration's policy seems to be pushing that country more and more towards the brink of having a nuclear weapon and being armed and infuriated to use it. They're conducting foreign policy through Twitter. That's the best they got. We need to actually make sure we have diplomats on the ground in Seoul that can actually make sure that we are advancing our agenda and trying to create a diplomatic effort, because a military solution there is going to be a disaster. It's going to put millions of lives at risk in South Korea, in China, in Japan, and right here in California. The way we avoid that is taking away Trump's Twitter account, making sure he's not infuriating little rocket man. We got to make sure that that happens.
Thank you.